Welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about my comfort palettes, the palettes I will use if I am in a hurry. I do want to do a neutral or colorful look. I know that the look will always end up looking amazing, so if you want to see that, then just keep on watching. I do have 5 brands and sort of palettes I want to talk about it, so let's start. This is in collaboration with my dear friend Anne from Alelox Makeup. I will of course link her channel. I think I'm a little bit early, so please forgive me, but if her video is up, I will link it down below and in the eye. Of course, she was having the idea of palettes you would grab and do your makeup if you are not sure or you don't want to have a lot of hassle with the shimmers, with the mattes, you know, if they are too pigmented, then you do have to blend more, all the things. And I think that this is really important because I think, especially today, when you do have so much we could choose from, I think this is a great way to see which brands we would grab if we want to have a quick, easy makeup, even if it is colorful, because listen, I do have colorful palettes here also involved. I think the first brand will not be a surprise. Maybe it is, I don't know. And this is Natasha Denona. Listen, I'm having 5 palettes. I have 2 of these smaller ones. I have 3 of these. I didn't grab my love one, but yeah, I do have again the bigger ones, which is the bronze and the glam palette, and I also have the smaller ones, which is the mini gold and the mini love. There are different sizings. You can have a micro palette with just 3 shades. You can have a bigger palette as well. I do have to say, I traveled with these smaller palettes and I never had any problems. I think the color selection, at least in these 2, these are my favorite by far, are amazing. I have to say, these are quite basic palettes, if you will, because again, this is the Glam palette, which is a basic neutral brown palette. And you know, it's not really colorful, but you can switch these out quite easily, which is amazing. So if you have a palette in the same like size, this is the midi size, by the way, and this is the bronze one. There are, you can like mix and match your palette as you like. These, if you ask me if they are worth $65 in the midi, or I think around 27 now for the mini, I do have to say, color wise, maybe not, but quality wise they are. Could I tell you at least 2 or 3 different brands that make the same palette? Totally. But if you are willing to splurge a little bit into Natasha Denona and her pricing, again, it's a little bit up there, I think these palettes won't disappoint. You do have a lot of different formulas, which you don't need, to be honest, but I think this is also quite nice. If I use these palettes at the end of the look, my look is always looking amazing. Listen, and that's the main thing. Do I think as a beginner you need a Natasha Denona palette? Hell nah. I don't think you need it at all. Listen, there are other palettes that have the same color variety, like the Glam, for example, the Coconut from Colourpop or Going Coconuts, I think. Any other brand is doing the same, like, color story wise. But, and that is the big but in my case, when I use this palette, I always love my end result. I never have to, you know, think about the blending. They blend themselves. Listen, this is really, really interesting to me, at least, because they blend themselves. You don't have to like do hard labor to make them work. Also, you can, you know, build them up, sheet them out. Again, this one, the gold, is my favorite though, because I do absolutely love this shade. I do love the greens. You do have a good selection. You can layer them. If you have, like, this one is a cream to powder, if I'm not mistaken. There are a lot of cream to powder formulas in the Natasha Denona palettes, and to be honest, they are super easy to work with. And I think that is especially the point that sells these, at least to me, because they are easy to work with and blend with like themselves. You don't have to do a lot of labor to make an eyeshadow work. I do have colorful as well as neutral option of these, and again, in all of them, in all of the palettes, they work amazingly, and that's why this one is a palette I definitely would grab if I just have like 10 minutes and to be out of the house. The next brand is maybe a little bit controversial, I feel like sometimes, but it is Beauty Bay. Listen, I am wearing today the Retro Love. This one is the Retro Love. This one is the Retro Love. I'm wearing it today. This look took me like 5 minutes. 5. I do have the Wilderness, I do have the New Mood, I do have some smaller palettes as well, the Earthy, the Berries, you know, all of them are really, really easy to work with. You can definitely tell this is a little bit more colorful, but you can go in other directions. Normally with this medium-sized palettes, I do also have the Iron Bright Matte palette, which is 42 shades. They did a revamp. It's now Iron 2.0, I think. So I do think they are easy to work with. I don't have any problems with building the shades. I don't have any problems with creasing. This is the New Mood. I don't have any problems. And if I want to have like a really fast, colorful look, Berries, or another colorful look, again, these are the Earthies. They do have a 42 variety of this, a 9 pan, and this one is the 16 pan together with the Berries. I don't have any problems to work with the shimmers, to work with the mattes. I don't think they are too pigmented, but I also don't think they are not pigmented enough. You know, I think the shimmers work really nicely. They do have a little bit of a putty, sometimes a little bit of a putty formula, but they are really easy to pick up, you know. They are really, really nicely. They are really, really shimmery. They really work nicely. You can really go in there. And again, they are easy to work with. And that's what I love about the formula, the brand. And that's why I picked it as a second place, or a second example of a great eyeshadow you could use as well. A brand and the palette, and this time there are two brands I just have one palette from, is Sigma Beauty. I do have to say the quality, the color story in this one in particular, this one is the new modded palette, is just, it's working. Listen, it's working. I did travel with this one. Again, this one has a brush, but I mean, it's falling out as well. But yeah, it's an easy to work with palette. It is an easy to work with palette. First of all, you have everything you need. In the palette, you do have a really light like bone shade, but you also go into really deep colors. I feel like this like formula is easy to work with, it's blendable, it's buildable. You don't have to like use all of the shades, but if you want to, you could. I mean, that's the main reason. I do love the palette, and I do absolutely love that the Sigma Beauty formula is really easy to work with. It blends itself. Again, this is like going for all of the palettes I will show you. It is blending itself. It's not too pigmented, but also it's not like you have to build it up like 15 times if you want to have a deep shade. And that's why I do love the New Mod. And I feel like Sigma Beauty is a great brand to have a comfort palette. One palette brand in particular, like again, I'm telling you, if I just like the palette, if I do love the brand, mostly it is the brand, because if I love a brand, I do have more than one palette from a brand. But in the Sigma one and in this one, I just have one palette. And listen, I absolutely love the palette. And this one is the Nomad Hudson Valley palette. Listen, I love it. I absolutely love it. This one is, of course, more of a fall palette. I bought it in fall last year, and I have to say it's a stunning palette. I don't think it's too pigmented. It is blendable. It's buildable. Again, in this palette itself, I don't have an inner corner highlight, but I can choose from like my highlight on a day or any other palettes, so it's not a big deal. So yeah, but these are really, really beautiful. I do also like the shimmers as well. They're easy to work with. I don't have to think about if I just, you know, use a glitter glue underneath. I don't need a glitter glue with any of these. Listen, it's amazing. Again, I don't have any other palette, but I feel like this one is a good no-brainer. You can go neutral, you can go colorful, and yeah, I love it. And the last brand in this particular case, and I do have like a few palettes from it, is Colourpop. Listen, I do have six palettes by Colourpop, and I have to say they are easy to work with. I don't have to like, listen, it's good. It's a great formula. Let me go with my like biggest palette by Colourpop. It's a Star Wars one. I raved about this palette, not because it's Star Wars, but yes, it's Star Wars. I absolutely love that. But I feel like the colors are great to mix. I don't have any problems with the shimmers, with the mattes. They're not too pigmented, they're blendable. Let's talk again and repeat that like 15 times. But yeah, it's just easy to work with. I also have two more color palettes or monochromatic palettes. This is the Aha Honey, which again, I do love the matte shades here. Did I really needed the glitter? No. Again, I want to switch it out, but again, I didn't do it so far. So, but yeah, this one is so easy to work with. It is this really nice color scheme. You can mix and match them, of course, with all the other palettes you own. Again, the Oh Kid You Not, listen, that color scheme is killing me. I absolutely love it. These are the 9 pens. And then of course, if you didn't know, I am a Star Wars fan. I do have, of course, other Star Wars palettes. And again, easy to blend, easy to work with. You do have different formulas in it. Again, this has no Super Shock, I think, but this one is like a matte with glitter. This one has a Super Shock one, which is this one. Easy to work with, really nice pigmentation. It's not too pigmented, not like lacking pigmentation. Again, I will buy more of Colourpop because again, all of these formula I do really like, and I do definitely see myself purchasing more of them. And like, they're no-brainers, you know what I mean? If I grab any of these, I can do a look in 5 to 10 minutes, be out of the door, out running my errands, and I would be fine. Like adding mascara and everything would be fine, totally worth all the money I spend on these, and I do spend a lot on these. Listen. These were all the brands and palettes I absolutely loved, and I feel like these are really comfort palettes where I don't have to think about if I need a special treatment for the shades, if I need to like work more with the mattes or the shimmers. I feel like all of these palettes as well as brands I showed you were a great example of, you know, the shadows and the formula are great and you don't have to fuss with any of these, which I absolutely love. Listen, there are some other brands I absolutely love, like the Kaleidos one, but I have to say sometimes Kaleidos shadows are a little bit too pigmented for me. Yes, if I listen, hear me out. If I want to have like the newest palettes, the more neutral ones, I can use all day long, but they do have other ones and they are really, really pigmented. And if I want to have like just a wash of color, nope. They are pigmented and they are amazing with that. They do have great duochromes and this and all the things. The same is for Uden's Eye. Oh, I absolutely love Uden's Eye. Uden's Eye is pigmented. Listen, if you have a shade in the color, you have a shade in the color. And I absolutely love that. but sometimes you do have to be a little bit more careful with this. With these ones, you don't have to be careful. They are amazing. They work amazingly, and I absolutely love this. So if you want to see more of recommendations of colorful palettes or neutral palettes as well, then leave it down in the comments. I would really appreciate that. Also, if you're new here, hi, subscribe to this channel. I upload a lot of fun and colorful things. So if you want to see that more in your timeline, then subscribe to this channel. It's fun, it's fresh, it's giving us new start. And I wish you a beautiful week, and we see us in my next video. Bye guys.